Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Patterson, president of the UIC. I'm here this morning to talk to you about a very, very serious matter. There is a child who is missing today. She has been abducted, and I want to call upon all Jamaicans across the country in all 14 parishes to be on alert and to help us to locate this child and to find the person who has allegedly abducted her. We need to make sure we have on all of our phones a picture of this little girl and a picture of the suspect who it has reported has taken the child from her home. As a people, we need to become much more sensitive and thoughtful and caring about protecting our children. It is very important that we become far more vigilant in our efforts. I know, I know, I know for a fact that life can be very difficult, life can be very hard, and as a result, sometimes as parents, we find ourselves in difficult positions where we have to leave our children and um, not be in a position to afford the kind of attention and supervision that is necessary. But I want to implore us to really make a very, very special effort to protect our children from predators. As you know, abductions and child abuse has become an epidemic in our country. Um, it shouldn't be because Jamaicans have always been a very caring people. We've always looked out for each other. We've always operated on a village approach where the entire village looks after the children of that village. Over time, we've become less and less sensitive, less and less caring, and less careful. And because of that, many of our children and our women have been placed in serious harm's way because of the lack of vigilance in our society. We've also seen that our police resources have been misdirected, and as a result, um, the police is not paying attention in the way that we would like them to pay attention to protecting our children, protecting our women, protecting our communities. But they have been misdirected and misguided by those above them. But we, the people, have a role to play. Whether the government or the police fails us, we, the people, must stand up and protect our children, protect our women, protect our communities. So I'm asking all of you today to take a very, very special look at the situation. And we have to make sure that we find this young lady. We cannot afford for her not to be found alive. Of course, it's past 24 hours now, but let's not lose hope. Let us all vigilantly yeah, get a picture. Let me see. I should be able to put one here. Let me see if I can do that because I want you to see the photo. We need to have a picture of this young man on all of our phones. I mean, we don't know if he's the one, he's just the person who is allegedly responsible for abducting this child. He's a person of interest. He's who the police said they're looking for. And so I want us to be very, very aware and to have this picture on our phones and to do our best to help the police to find him. So don't just walk around. It doesn't matter if you're in Montego Bay or in Hanover or in St. Anne or Kingston. Not because they tell you it's in Bath, St. Thomas, means you should just think, okay, it's over there in St. Thomas. No, it is all our business. This person could have long traveled to another part of the country. So let us be very careful, very focused, and carry this picture around with us anywhere we go. We also need to have this picture with us This is the little girl. This is Phylisa Prussia from Bath in St. Thomas. Carry this picture around, and look out if you see any little child like this anywhere. If you have any video clips, any photos at all of any activities, send it in immediately to the police so that they can have this information to try to find this little child. I am very disheartened. There are too many situations like this happening. Too often we see this happening in our country, and it's about time that we put a stop to it. I wish that we could say more to the family. I can just imagine how the family feels right now. This is a 9-year-old child. This is a baby, and she has been away now from her immediate family for more than 24 hours. We don't know what condition she's in. We don't even know if she's still alive. We pray to God that she still is. But we, the people, must take an active role in helping to address this matter. One of the things I've noticed is that uh, child abuse and trafficking has been on the increase across our country. And I think really that's where we need to be putting our resources. We need to be careful. We have limited resources as a country, so we need to be careful where we put those police and intelligence resources. And a key part of our society are the children and how well we protect our children. We also have to be aware of the fact that how we treat suspect is important. So I believe the gentleman in question. I'll put his picture up again for you. I believe the gentleman in question is currently out on bail. He was, I believe, charged for possession of a firearm and was asked by the police, or a part of his bail was for him not to be in Portland anymore, but to stay with a family friend in St. Thomas. It is reported that the same suspect attacked a lady with a knife, and that the lady was saved by her husband. And then later on, he was captured, or somebody was captured on CCTV or closed circuit television, walking with the child. So we don't know for sure what are the facts, but the most that you and I can do is to make sure we have this picture of the suspect, and that we keep that picture in focus, and not lose sight at all of this picture of this person. Keep it top of your phone, refer to it as you go about your business, and pay attention to anybody moving around. Look for the young lady, see if you see her popping up anywhere, and report it to the police. Now, let's shift our attention to the bigger problem of crime and violence in our society. I don't know if you hear the cows in the background. I have cows. I'm a farmer as well, so we have cows nearby. So that's what you're hearing. Now, the crime and violence situation has become really tragic in our country, and it has been this way for many years. And as you all know, a big part of the crime problem is not so much poverty, because Jamaicans have been very peaceful and survived for years under poverty without being violent or murderous. Back in the 60s, we had about 66 murders per year, and not much in the way of violence and serious crime. But that has changed over time. What has happened is, those who were responsible for our leadership, that took over the governance of our country, they taught us to fight against each other, and facilitated the guns and stuff coming in. And they funded gangs, gave them government contracts, and made them stronger and more organized. And we shifted away now from just working hard and honestly for what we need to extortion, getting involved in politics for the purpose of getting money out of it, as opposed to working hard for what we want, being productive, and using that to propel ourselves up the ladder. So, we're in a very difficult situation now because of those decisions that were made over the years, 77 years to be exact. And so now Jamaica is shaped by the corruption, by the crime, by the violence. Our education system has also failed us in that we have a system of education that was based on rote learning, not reasoning, not thinking and analysis and building actual competences. So many of who we graduate from our high schools are not competent, and so they become easy pickings for the gangs and stuff. And because our leaders have failed to build an economy based on productivity and instead build our economy around politics, it has gradually crippled more and more of our industries, destroying them, and therefore leaving many of our young people stranded. Limited opportunities, low income, low salaries. Um, uh, this brings a lot of stress on a young man, a young woman. We have many of our young people having children without having the competences to be either good parents or to provide for these children. And so the situation is spiraling out of control. It's getting worse and worse. And so we have to change course now if we're going to fix this. We have to find a different approach. That is why I created the United Independence Congress of Jamaica. Not so much as a political party, but as a political movement, rather, that recognizes that you have to fix the problem at its source. And the sad part about it, the source of Jamaica's problem is its political system and its political parties. The people in Jamaica are not bad. We are the byproduct of our leadership. In any country, the people evolves according to how they have been led and how they have been governed. And so Jamaica has been led and governed in a way that has brought out the worst in our people. And is we're not innately bad people. As a matter of fact, if you were around at the time of independence, you would see a people that you'd be most proud of. Yes, we weren't highly educated. We didn't have a lot of big education. And certainly most of us, especially those of darker skin, which was the vast majority, were very poor. Poor in terms of cash rich. We didn't have a lot of financial capital, but we're rich in culture. We're rich in relationship. We're rich as a community, and so we learned to depend on each other. We could trust each other. We shared with each other. We used to share the cup of salt or the cup of sugar. We shared caring for our children. We shared in helping each other with our farms and building our homes, and we looked out for each other. And so crime was very low because we trusted each other. We were vigilant, and as a matter of fact, we had a lot of jungle justice back in those days. Where if a person does something wrong, the people just deal with it. You used to have cases where a child misbehaves on the road, and the parent doesn't have to be there because the next door neighbor who's to the child is going to correct them. Back then we have greater respect. We respected our elders, we respected our teachers, we respected our police officers. So we had a more respectful society, even if we were going to school barefoot. Even if we go to school with just a cup of mint tea and a slice of bread with little, Betty butter upon it or something. We were a very, very different people. But the leaders that we have had and how they have cultured the nation has brought us to where we are today, where our children can't even play outside alone anymore peacefully. We're back to this situation where, um, you know, yeah, they will just our children are terribly at risk. During this last near 2 years under this administration, um, it has been the greatest disservice done to children ever in the history of this nation since independence. We've had some atrocious things done to our people, to our families, to our children, but this is arguably the worst ever. They've kept children out of school for nearly 2 years, destroying the limited education that they had, exposing them to the severe consequences of not having adequate supervision. They have abandoned the children to squalorly communities with limited resources, be it internet, be it bathroom facilities, be it housing arrangement. um, the government has chosen to abandon our children. More than 120,000 of them were unaccounted for during this near 2 year period. And not just that, apart from abandoning these children, the 120,000, the other 300, 400,000 children got a poor quality education, even if they just showed up and are accounted for. Um, Accounting for them doesn't mean that they received a quality education. I mean, I've personally visited with some of the children and seen their conditions. They have, outdated or poor quality equipment, computers and tablets that were very difficult to use. The audio doesn't, the video screen is cracked or the resolution is poor. The connectivity to the internet is poor, so the learning experience is disjointed. The teachers are not necessarily equipped to manage an online environment because that was very new to them. The resource material for the children were not properly distributed or available. So it was really hard. It has been very difficult for our children over the last 2 years. And it's all because of government policy, all because the government decided not to follow the science, not to pay attention, right? They decided to just do whatever they were told by somebody somewhere, being a part of whatever and not really dealing with the realities here in Jamaica. We can't treat Jamaica like it's a first world country when it comes on to handling a pandemic. We have to do a different approach. And my approach, the UIC's approach, was to create a non political, non partisan approach that would be community based, that would be inclusive, objective, working with the people, not mandating, not forcing, not being dictatorial, but working with the people to make sure we have adequate solutions and to make sure that our children and our people were protected, our livelihoods. I mean, many Jamaicans live hand to mouth. So we couldn't afford to just have lockdowns. We needed to have something else. And that something else would mean being practical and pragmatic. Teaching people how to build their immune system, draw upon our local indigenous herbs and medicines, helping people to understand how to manage their health, spend a decent. This was an opportunity, This was an opportunity to introduce healthful living to our people and reintroduce, because something we know before now, but over the years we have lost it because our leadership have taught us to move away from organic farming to chemical driven farming, and they've led us away from the communist spirit to being selfish and self-centered and not really working with each other. So this was an opportunity for us to come back together as a people, and we have squandered that opportunity. We have totally squandered that opportunity. But it's time for us to do better. It's time for us to do better. So, for the sake of this little girl, um, Phylisa Prussia, for the sake of this little girl, please let us make this a turning point. Let us find, let us all 3 million of us, Just imagine. Forget about just the police or the government. If all 3 million of us go on a search, all 3 million, just go on a search. Be vigilant. Look around in your community for any signs of this child or the man that is the accused. Let's just look around in our communities. When we go to the grocery store, we go to the barber shop, we go to just walking in the town or the city. Be vigilant. Look around and help to find this young man and help us to find this young girl. Right? Just look around. Here she is. Let us all be vigilant now and help the police to find her as soon as possible. There are 3 million of us. Just imagine if 3 million eyes were to help the police. 3 million eyes, right? Even if you're a child, it's fine. You might be a child you can look out to. Most of our children now are good with the phone and they can look up things. So let's give everybody this picture, both of them, this picture of the child, a picture of the the young man in question, and ask every Jamaican, I'm asking every Jamaican everywhere in this country to look out for this child and report even the slightest amount of information that might be helpful to the police. Yeah, and if we do that, we can find her. We can find her very quickly, and this goes for all crimes. Don't just see the crime on TV and say, oh my God, and then move on. No, see the crime and then take an active part in looking for clues, looking out, and informing the police. Now, I know some of you may be afraid to talk to the police because, you know, Jamaica has become so corrupt that you don't even know who to trust. You can't, you're afraid to trust the police. But there's a way around that. You might even know the criminal. They might be living in your yard, living in your house, living in your community, but you don't want to talk up because you're afraid of possible repercussions. So try to work around that. Try to find a pastor you can confide in, a justice of the peace, somebody you can talk to. If you can't find nobody, talk to me. Just let me know. Tell me, send me a message, and give me the clue. Right? You know our phone number, 2930812. Send us a clue. We will pass it on to the police. Okay? Just send us whatever you can find on any criminal activity, and by any I mean any, whether it is in the government, inside the public sector, or inside the private sector, or in your community. You just send us the clue. You can send it to us anonymously. You can buy a burner phone or whatever the case is, or send us and tell us that it's confidential. Don't mention your name. For example, right now we get many reports of incidents, and you'll see me post them on my Facebook page and on our in our WhatsApp groups and stuff. I get this from people who don't want their names to be mentioned, and so we keep that confidential. But let us all know. Forget about the politics for a second. Just forget about that. Forget about Andrew. Forget about the government. Forget about even the police. We, the people, we must become a part of the crime solving problem, right? Obviously, those we have been elected for years have failed us. That's obvious. So we see it's just continuing. So we now have to take this thing up on our hand because it's our children that they're abducting. It's our mothers and wives and sisters that they're raping and trafficking, right? It's our young men that they're shooting and killing innocent. Just the other night, one of our members, his son was coming home on a bicycle. He rode up almost close to his gate, and they tried to rob him. And they shoot at him, and he had to jump off of his bike and run inside. And fortunately, his father had a gun and could shoot back at the criminals, and as a result, save his son. So bad things are happening all around our country, and we, the people, have to step up. You know my position already. I am for gun rights. I believe every Jamaican who wants to own a gun legally should get one. It should not be something that you give to the privileged. Right now, the way the system works in Jamaica is the rich and powerful. It's as if, if you are wealthy, then you have a right to have a firearm. But if you are poor, you don't have a right to. All lives matter. Everybody's lives are important. So if somebody feel they want to have a firearm to protect themselves, and they're going through the process, they're getting proper training and proper psychological assessment, and when you go to the FLA now, apart from any corruption that might be there, and you know about that already, but the normal process they have is quite stringent normally. They're checking your home, they're checking your background, they're checking all kinds of stuff. Whole heap of stuff they're checking. Um, so we need to stop, the division. And in Jamaica, we like to divide people: uptown versus downtown, GLP versus PNP, vaccinated versus unvaccinated. We need to stop this. We, the people of Jamaica that have stood up against apartheid, we need to stop this. We have stood up against slavery. We need to stop this. We, the Jamaican people, need to say no more division. We don't want no more division that is created and fabricated by those in authority and power. We want all Jamaicans to be treated equally. So we want this little child, to be found. We want her to be found, and we want to do that together as a united nation. Yeah? So, all of you, please get her picture onto your phone. Get the picture of the accused, the suspected abductor. Get his picture on your phone. And let's now all of us become the eyes and ears of the police and help to track down this accused and the child. And let's do this for every crime. Every time we hear that somebody has been abducted, a child, one of our women, who could be our mother or sister, right? Let's deliberately look at it, focus on it, put it on our phones, and deliberately help the police to find these persons as quickly as possible. Jamaica can become a better place, and we are the ones who will have to make it that better place. Huh? We have to do it. And so I'm going to leave, but the the opportunity is ours. The responsibility is ours. Freedom comes with responsibility, right? So the UIC, you know that we're big on liberty. We're for liberty, and we're going to protect the rights of every Jamaican to their life, their liberty, and their property. But for us to have liberty, we also have to be mindful of our responsibility. And we have a responsibility to help protect each other, to help save the lives of our children, to help build stronger communities, to help build a strong economy, and to help to protect the sovereignty of our country. So we have some responsibilities. And today I'm asking all of us to take responsibility to help and find little Phylisa. Help us to find little Phylisa, and help us to find the person who is believed to be her abductor. Put it on your phone, track it daily, and let's hope if we put our energy together, all 3 million of us, put our heads together, put our eyes together, we can find this young lady, this little child, and restore her to her family, safe and sound. Until we speak again, take care, have a good morning, and I have much to say to you, see, but I can't say no because time is up on me. But please stay vigilant. Let's save little Felicia, and let us find her abductor. Help the police. Be their ears and their eyes on the ground. All 3 million of us. And if we do that and solve this case, we can do the same and solve other cases. And together as a people, bring down the crime rate, bring down the abduction rate, and bring down the child abuse rate in Jamaica. Report all crimes. Report every single crime you see as quickly as possible. And if you're afraid of reporting it directly, report it through us. Let us know. Call the UIC. Send us an anonymous message if you wish at our number 876-293-0812. That's 876-293-0812. You send us the tip and we will pass it on to the police for you. Send us a picture, send us a video, and just alert us and we'll pass it on if you are afraid. If you're not afraid, or you have a family friend or somebody you trust, a pastor, a JP, a police officer that you trust, a judge, anybody that you can find, work with them to get the message to the police to help track down these criminals. And if you don't have a source, if you don't have an avenue, and you feel like you're just alone, reach out to us. We'll be here to help you at 876-293-0812. Thanks again. Have a good morning, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. All the best.